Welcome students. So today we are going to continue the structure of atom chapter, and in this chapter let's see the next topic, that is the modern concept modern concept of structure of atom. In the previous classes we have studied about the concepts such as the Rutherford model, the Thomson model, okay, of atom, and after that we have studied about the planetary model which was proposed by the Neil Bohr. Now, as these all of the atoms, these all of the structures of atoms, we are having some drawbacks with them. So, a modern approach or this approach is also termed as quantum mechanical model. Okay, it is also been termed as quantum mechanical model of atom. Okay. So here, the quantum mechanical model of atom is been based on proper two theories. Okay, it has been based on two theories. That is, first, dual nature of matter, dual nature of matter, and the second one is Heisenberg's Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Okay, on these two principles, it is been based. That is, the first is the dual nature of matter, and another one is the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So let's start here. First, let's talk about the dual nature of matter. What is dual nature of matter? So dual nature of matter was proposed by Einstein. Okay, he has proposed that light light can behave as a wave as well as like a particle, as well as like a particle. That is, we can say that it has dual characteristics. It has dual character. Okay, it has dual character. Now, this particular phenomena in 1924 was suggested by de Broglie that light exhibits both wave property and matter property. Both they are possessed by the light. Okay, so for that de Broglie, okay, de Broglie, one more known scientist, de Broglie, has said that all material particles in motion possess possess wave characteristics. Wave characteristics. Okay. So according to de Broglie, the wavelength lambda is equals to Planck's constant divided by mass into the velocity. Okay, and as we know that momentum is equals to mass into velocity, and momentum is been termed as is shown by p. So we can write that lambda is equals to h upon p. Okay, lambda is equals to h upon p. So here this was named as matter wave. Okay, the waves associated with material particles are termed as matter waves, or it is also been termed as de Broglie wave. Okay, now according to Planck's photon of light, okay, according to Planck's photon of light having energy E, according to Planck, photon of light having energy capital E, capital E, okay, having an energy capital E is associated with the wave of frequency, is associated with wave of frequency V as E is equals to H, okay, H nu, sorry, not V, it is frequency, it is nu, H nu, okay, H nu. But according to Einstein, mass and energy are related, mass and energy are related as, they are related as E is equals to mass into c square, where c is the speed of light in vacuum. That is the speed of light in vacuum. So on combining these two equations, we will get h nu can be written as equivalent to mc square. Okay. So here v lambda, we can write v lambda is nu lambda is equals to mc square. Okay. Nu lambda is equals to, sorry, nu lambda is equals to c square here. Okay, not c square, it can be written as only c. Okay, we know that v lambda is equals to c here, so we can write that v is equals to c upon lambda. Okay, c upon lambda. So putting this value here, we will get that, putting this value here, we will get that hc upon lambda, okay, hc upon lambda is equals to mc square. Okay, hc upon lambda is equals to mc square, and here this is nu and this is not v, this is nu. Frequency is equals to speed of light upon wavelength. Okay, frequency is equals to speed of light upon wavelength. This is this particular formula has been derived from there. So now moving further, we can write hc upon lambda is equals to mc square. So this c and this one c gets cancelled out here. So what we will get here? We will get here that h is equals to, sorry, not h, we are going to find here lambda. So the lambda will become lambda is equals to h upon m into c, h upon m into c. This particular equation is valid for a photon. Okay, this particular equation has been valid for a photon, and de Broglie has said that substituting the mass here for the photon, we can substitute the mass of the particle and its velocity in the place of velocity of light. So the equation can also be applied to the, so this particular equation can easily be applied to the particles also. Okay, for the particles also. And then this equation can be written as lambda is equals to h upon m into v, where m is the mass of the particle and v is the velocity of that particular particle, and this equation is been termed as de Broglie's equation, de Broglie's equation. Okay, and here we know that the lambda or this wavelength is inversely proportional to your momentum. Okay, it is inversely proportional to your momentum, and this relation that lambda is inversely proportional to momentum, this relationship is termed as de Broglie's relationship. Okay, de Broglie's relationship. Now moving further, let's see the next, that is Heisenberg's principle. So Heisenberg's uncertainty principle was telling that Heisenberg uncertainty principle. What is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle? So Heisenberg's uncertainty principle states that it is not possible, it is not possible to measure simultaneously both the position and momentum, both the position and momentum, or in other words we can say that velocity, okay, because momentum is directly proportional to velocity only, okay, velocity of a microscopic particle. For a microscopic particle it is very hard to measure both the uh, position and the momentum, okay, with absolute accuracy, with absolute accuracy. Okay, so this law may be expressed as, so hence this particular law can be expressed as that del x, which is the uncertainty in position, is equals to del p, that is uncertainty in the momentum. For a microscopic particle, it will be greater than or equal to, Planck's constant divided by 4 pi. Okay, Planck's constant divided by 4 pi. Okay, so here this was the uncertainty principle. So here this del x is very small. Okay, it is very small. The position of the particle is measured accurately, and del p would be very large here. That is, there would be large uncertainty in its momentum also there. On the other hand, if del p is very small, then we will see that the momentum of the particle is measured more accurately. Then del x will be very large here, and there would be large uncertainty with regards to that of the position of the particle. In other words, we can say that if the position of particle is measured accurately, here if we are measuring, if position of particle, that is del x, is measured accurately, is measured accurately, then there will be error in measurement of momentum. And conversely, if momentum is accurately measured, there will be error in position of the accurate position of the particle, accurate position of particle. Okay, so this particular position and velocity of an object cannot be simultaneously measured with accuracy. It is known as uncertainty principle of Heisenberg. Okay, this has been termed as the uncertainty principle of Heisenberg, and it is valid for very small, that is microscopic particles. Okay, so on the basis of these two laws only, we are going to make our new concept of atomic model, that is the quantum atomic model. Okay, quantum atomic model. So for this quantum atomic model, the idea of uncertainty in position and velocity overrode the Bohr's picture of fixed orbit. Okay, so due to this uncertainty here, that we cannot measure the correct position or the exact position of the very small tiny microscopic particles here. Okay, and if we are measuring it, then the momentum will be wrong out there. So hence due to this particular funda, the fixed position or the fixed orbital conditions which was proposed by Bohr, it has been neglected here, or it has been vanished out. Okay, so the due to this uncertainty principle here, the new approach, that is the quantum mechanics, is been used out here, or wave mechanics is been used out here for making a new model of atoms. Okay, so in 1927, Schrodinger has proposed its wave equation, okay, Schrodinger has proposed a wave equation. Okay, and the wave equation for Schrodinger was del x square plus del square psi divided by del y square plus del square psi divided by del z square plus 8 pi square m divided by h square e minus v psi divided by z. Okay, where the xyz were the amplitudes of the wave. Okay, xyz were the amplitudes of the wave, or the coordinates of the position of electrons. Okay, e was the total energy here. E was the total energy of electron. Okay, total energy of electron. And v was the potential energy. M, mass of electron, and h, Planck's constant. H is the Planck's constant. Okay, so this particular equation has defined the new model for your atoms. Okay, which is termed as the quantum order model of atom. Okay, quantum model of atom. And on this basis, four different quantum numbers. Okay, four different quantum numbers has been defined out. First thing which here comes out is the concept of atomic orbital. Concept of atomic orbital. So first you must understand what is atomic orbital. So atomic orbital, orbital an orbital is is a region in space around the nucleus, where the probability of finding the the electron is maximum. Okay, or in other words, we can say that there is a no fixed orbital for an electron. Okay, there is no fixed orbital for an electron. There is a maximum possible region where you can find out the where you can find out the electron. That particular region in the space near about your nucleus is been termed as near about the nucleus of an atom is been termed as the orbital. Okay, so it has been rejected, or it has this particular phenomena has made more clear that the electrons are not moving in a fixed orbit. Okay, they are not moving in a fixed orbit, but they are moving in a orbital, and these orbitals are depending on the four quantum numbers. Okay, these orbitals are depending on the four quantum numbers, and according to this only we will define different electrons on the basis of these four quantum numbers. So the first quantum number is the principal quantum number. Principal quantum number, that is termed as n. Okay, it is represented by small n. So the principal quantum number is the the quantum number that gives the main energy shell. Quantum number the quantum number that determines that determines the main energy main energy shell or level in which the electron is present. The electron is present. Okay, so the number for n can be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, like this the number can be increased out for each. Okay, here the first shell is represented by K. Okay, the shell name is K here. The second shell it is L. Third shell it will be M. Fourth shell it will be N, and like this they will increase out. It also helps, this particular principal quantum number also helps to find out the average distance of the electron from the nucleus. Okay, it helps in finding out the average distance of the electron from the nucleus, as the principal quantum number gives the average distance of the electrons from the nucleus, that is the size of the electron cloud or the shell, and energy associated with it. It also helps in finding out the energy for it, as we have discussed in our previous conditions. We have seen out the different formulas there where n was using out there. Okay, which was giving out the radius and also the energy for each shell there. Okay, let's move further. The next one is the azimuthal quantum number. Azimuthal quantum number. This quantum number gives the angular momentum. Okay, this quantum number determines the angular momentum. Okay, azimuthal quantum number, it is denoted by L. It is denoted by L. This determines the angular momentum. Angular momentum. And what is this angular momentum? When any body is moving in orbits or in circular form, so there exists a momentum which is known as the angular momentum. It is not linear momentum, as the body is moving in rotations. Okay, it is moving in circular form, so here the angle of the object, the angle of the particle is changing with respect to time. Okay, so this type of motion, there we calculate the angular momentum, where the angular momentum is being formed out by the mass of the particle multiplied by the angular velocity. Okay, mass of the particle multiplied by the angular velocity of that object, and that particular term is known as the angular momentum. So this particular quantum number, azimuthal quantum number, determines the angular momentum of electrons. Okay, of the electrons, and hence they are also called as, this particular number is also called as orbital angular momentum. Orbital angular momentum, or subsidiary quantum number. Subsidiary quantum number. Subsidiary quantum number. Okay, it is denoted by L, and the value of L gives the subshell or sublevel in given principal energy shell. Okay, the value of L gives the number of or the value of, okay, it gives the value of subshells or sub levels in each principal quantum number. Okay, in each principal quantum level or in each principal quantum energy shell. Okay, so L can be start from 0, 1, 2, 3, and the value is taken as n minus 1. Okay, it is taken as n minus 1. For example, if we are saying that n is equals to 1 here, then the value for L will become 1 minus 1, that is 0. Okay, if the value of n is equals to 1, then L will become 2 minus 1, that is 1. Okay, so like this, and for n, for here the values the one shell, here the number of orbitals present here, it will be 0 only. Okay, but here as the energy level is 1 here, so here the number of orbitals which will be present out here, it can be of 0 also and 1 also. Okay, it can be of 0 also and 1 also. Sub levels can be here 0 also and 1 also. For n is equals to 3, it can be 0, 1, 2. Okay, so like this will be increasing out. So the values of L helps in the determination of sub-levels or sub-shells. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, if I am taking the values, and you can increase if you want, then here the sub-shells or the designations which are provided here are S, P, D, F, G, H. Like this, the designation is being provided on. Okay, so the letters S, P, D, and F originates from the terms sharp. Okay, S is been originated from the term sharp, P from the term principal, D from diffuse, F from fundamental, fundamental, which were used in the atomic emission spectra. Okay, these were used in the atomic emission spectra. For L is equals to 4 higher values, the letter for the alphabetical order, that is after F, which is G, H, I, J, K, is being used out there. Okay, and this is the formulation of the subshells. Okay, for here the azimuthal number gives us the formulation for your subshells. So here, how we are going to designate these particular values. So the designation is being given like this. In the first shell where energy level is 0, for K shell, which where energy level is 0, where L is equals to 0, there only S will be there. For L shell where where azimuthal number is 1, here it will be S also and P also will be there. Similarly for M where L is equals to 2, azimuthal number is 2, here S will be there, P will be there, and D orbital will be present out there. Similarly for N, L is equals to 3, S, P, D, and now F orbital, F subshell will also be present out here. And after this, after the N, every next shell will be containing at least F. Okay, means SPDF will be contained out there, except for hydrogen, where the subshell within given shell differs slightly in energy. The energy of the subshell increases with the increase in the value of L there. Okay, for except for hydrogen. So the energy here, we will say that if I am terming that this is 1s. Why? Because this is the first cell s orbital. Okay, s suborbital. Then 2s for second shell, 2s orbital, and 2p. 3s, 3p, 3d for third shell, s orbital, p orbital, d orbital. Okay, third shell, fourth shell s orbital, fourth shell p orbital, fourth shell d orbital, fourth shell f orbital. Okay, fourth shell f orbital. Like this, we are giving the designations here for it. Okay, so here we will see that the energy level is increasing here. The energy level is increasing in the order of SPDF. Okay, in the order of SPDF. Okay, the angular quantum number determines the subshell in a given principal energy shell. Okay, these are the subshells which are present in a principal shell. Next, we can find out the angular momentum by the formula. We can find out the angular momentum by the formula. If we want to find out the angular momentum, then we can find out the formula by the formula Planck's constant divided by 2 pi under root L into L plus 1. Okay, under root L into L plus 1. This will be the value. Okay. The third quantum number is magnetic quantum number. Magnetic quantum number. So what is this magnetic quantum number? The magnetic quantum number describes the behavior of electron in a magnetic field. It describes the behavior of electron in a magnetic field. It describes the behavior of magnetic electrons in a magnetic field, and since the revolving electron possesses angular momentum, it will give rise to a very small magnetic field there, which will interact with the external magnetic field of the earth. And under the influence of external magnetic field, the electrons in a given subshell orient themselves in certain preferred region of space around the nucleus. This particular space which has been there, around which the electrons will be moving out there, this is termed as your orbitals. Okay, this has been termed as your orbital here, which has been influenced by the external magnetic field of earth. And due to this reason, we will see that there is no fixed orbital path, or no fixed orbit for any electron here. This particular magnetic quantum number is represented by m. Okay, it is represented by m. And for a given value of L, the magnetic quantum number can be represented as ml is equals to minus L to 0 to plus L. Okay, minus L to 0 to plus L. It can be termed like this. So here, if I am saying for S, the value of L was for S orbital, the value of L was 0. So here the magnetic quantum number will be 0, and only one orbital will be there, which will be containing two electrons. Okay, which will be containing two electrons. For P, where L was is equals to 1 here, and this orbital is having the energy of 0. Next, the for P here, one 0 orbital will be there, one plus 1 orbital will be there, and one minus 1 orbital will be there. Okay, minus 1, 0, and plus 1 orbital will be there, and in each orbital there can be occupied by two electrons. Okay, they can be occupied by two electrons. Okay, so like this, 6 electrons will be present in your p orbital. Similarly, for D, where L is equals to 2, so there we can represent it by minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1, and plus 2. Okay, and these 5 orbitals, in each orbital there will be 2 electrons. So D can occupy maximum 10 electrons here. Similarly, for F, it will be L is equals to 3. So here minus 3, minus 2, minus 1, 0, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 will be there, and in each orbital 2 electrons will be there. So here 7 orbitals will be present and 14 electrons will be present out there. Okay, so this is a way to define SPDF. Okay, SPDF by using the magnetic quantum number here. Okay, now moving further, and let's see the last quantum number, that is the spin quantum number. Spin quantum number. So what is the spin quantum number? The electrons in an atom is not only revolving around the nucleus, but it is having a spin on its own axis also. It is also having a spin on its own axis. And that spin is either clockwise or it is counterclockwise. Okay, that spin is either clockwise or anti-clockwise. This particular spinning was proposed by George Uhlenbeck and Samuel Goudsmit. And this particular number is termed as electron spin quantum number. Okay, electron spin quantum number. It is been denoted by S. It is been denoted by S, and the magnetic spin number. The magnetic spin number. It is denoted by Ms, and it is having the value of plus or minus 1 by 2. Plus or minus 1 by 2. Okay, if anyone wants to find out the formula for the spin angular momentum for the rotation of electrons on their own axis, then they can find out the formula by S plus 1 h upon 2 pi. By using this formula, they can easily find out the value there, where S is equals to half. So hence, this formula has been converted to root 3 h upon 4 pi. Root 3 h upon 4 pi. So by summing up all these formulas, we can easily identify, or we can easily define an electron which has been present in any of the shell. Okay, which is present in any of the shell or the subshell. Okay, so this was the new quantum model of atom. Okay, this was the new quantum model of atom, which is now defining the new model atom, and on the basis of this, all of the questions which were asked or which were unanswered is been answered out here. Okay, so we will continue with this particular quantum model of atoms in the next part also, and we will see there the FBOSS principle, on the basis of which we will study how this model is been formed out and what is Pauli's exclusion theory, and how using the FBOSS principle we can easily remember the model quantum model of atoms. Okay, so thank you for watching this video. We will meet in our next session.